So this is just a quick video on my semi-auto L85A1 build. I'll just kind of go through some features, disassembly, reassembly, and then I'll show you it actually firing. So the main difference between this and an actual L85 is that in the semi-auto version, there's no change lever, as this is semi-automatic only. But everything else, it shares a lot of similarities with an actual L85. The buttstock, pistol grip, handguard are all actual L85 parts, and it shares the same proprietary optics rail as an L85. So you can swap out an actual SUSAT, and then you could put on the carrying handle. So I'll just kind of take you through the disassembly. So first things first, remove the magazine, make sure it's unloaded. All good. Then you pop out these two disassembly pins. And then the upper and lower half should separate. Set the lower aside. And then you just remove the recoil rod assembly. And then the bolt carrier group, slide it back and pull out the bolt handle. And then the bolt carrier group just comes out the back. So I can go ahead and show you the difference between an actual L85A2 bolt carrier and my semi-auto L85 bolt carrier. If you notice, it's tough to see, but the distance between the guide rods is a bit different. It's just a bit wider spacing on the semi-auto version, so you cannot swap a real L85 bolt carrier with this one. Also, the recoil rod assembly is different than a real L85A1. On an actual one, there's these two act as just guide rods, and there is a third hole right here that houses the recoil rod and return spring. So with regards to the upper receiver, the trunnion is just a custom machine 4140 steel trunnion with an AR-15 barrel extension pressed, pinned, and welded in. The barrel is just a custom barrel. With regards to the gas system, gas block is just a custom piece, again 4140. The gas system is basically a modified Brownell's gas system from a BRN 180, just shortened up a bit. So with the lower receiver, the trigger group is quite different from an actual L85 trigger group. Here's an example of one. In the semi-auto version, it uses mostly an AR-15 style trigger group, as opposed to this. And how you remove this one is you use just a L85 SA80 disassembly tool. You push a plunger at the rear, and then this whole assembly can pop out through the top. Versus the full auto version, you kind of pop out these pins here, and also the change lever, and then you could just remove this unit. So yeah, it's very different, and you just can't swap these two. This area here is a bit different on how the dimensions are. You can notice the buffer also is pretty different than the actual L85. This is a steel buffer with a spring, versus on the actual L85, it's just kind of a rubber buffer there. As far as the triggers connected, it's pretty similar to an actual L85. Just has a trigger bar running to the back, pulls on the sear when you pull the trigger. Trigger resets, you let go. And the safety as well functions similar to an actual L85. So on safe, won't fire, off safe, fires. So now I'll reassemble the rifle. First thing, bolt carrier group slides in from the rear. Just line up the hole and then insert the cocking handle. Slide it forward. Insert the recoil rod assembly. And then you can attach the lower. And once it's all lined up, you can insert the disassembly pins. And then a quick function check. Good to go. So one thing to note is the trigger. Since this uses an AR-15 style trigger group, I think it's a lot better than the original. You can notice it's a very, very short travel and also very short reset. So that's the build. I will mention that a 3D printer was very, very useful in this project. Basically every part that I machined, I 3D printed beforehand just to check kind of fitment and dimensions. Saved a lot of time and hassle, so I highly recommend it. So the next thing, I'll just roll in some footage of this thing actually firing so you can see how it shoots.